Good day, learners. Today, I would like to greet you a advance Merry Christmas, and I hope that you are safe and healthy today. So, my lesson is about the 20th century to the contemporary period in English literature. So, we have two topics here that we are going to explore. First is other novel types, and second is The Lord of the Flies by William Golding. So please listen, and at the end of this lesson, I wish that you will have an ideas about these topics. If you are ready, let's start the discussion. So first, what is novel? It is a fictitious prose narrative of book length, typically representing characters and action with some degree of realism, according to Oxford Dictionary. So in Tagalog, novel is novela. So it usually long and complex, deals with human experiences through usually connected sequence of events. So 20th century novels are influenced by the changes in beliefs, political ideas after the events of First World War. So next is other novel types. We have realistic novel. So realistic novel is a fictional attempt to give the effect of realism. Ibig sabihin, this novel is about reality. This novel is called a novel of manner. So yung mga characters in this novel interact with another characters and undergo plausible in everyday experiences. So, meron tayong example, The 13 Reasons Why by J. Asher. Next is historical novel. So, the historical novel is a novel set in a period earlier than that of writing. So, the history was written using novel. So, this is the example of historical novel. We have The Tale of the Two Cities. Next one is the Gothic novel. So, this Gothic novel is more on supernatural and horror stories. So, when we say Gothic novel, always nating tatandaan ang mga supernaturals at horror is included siya sa Gothic novel. So, for example, the vampire. Yan. Next is autobiographical novel. So, an autobiographical novel is a novel based on life of the author. So, ibig sabihin, this novel is about, the whole story on the book is about the life of the author. So, like for example, The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. Yan. Next is allegorical novel. An allegorical novel is a story with two levels of meaning, surface meaning and symbolic meaning. So, ang keyword sa allegorical novel is a symbolic in meaning. Symbolic in meaning. So, for example, The Lord of the Flies, which is i-discuss ko after this one, ibig sabihin, allegorical novel is one of the novel which is nakafocus doon sa ang author ay nakafocus doon sa mga symbols or gumagamit sila ng mga symbolic. Pwedeng sa animals, pwedeng sa mismong characters or sa mga tao. Next is detective fiction. So, a detective fiction is the subgenre of crime fiction and mystery fiction in which the investigator or detective, either professional or amateur, investigates a crime, often murder. So, from the word detective, so ang novel na ito is about investigating. Next is the intellectual novel. So, intellectual novel, their novel displays with clash of ideas and intellectual verification of knowledge. For example, The Power and the Glory. Next is the novel of incident. So, it is a novel of incident The narrative focuses on what the protagonist will do next and how the story will turn out. Novel of incident, start yung story with incident, follow by characters, ano yung gagawin nila after nung incident na yon. So, doon tatakbo yung buong story. Next is the novel of character. So, character, ibig sabihin, doon din tumatakbo yung story sa mismong characters. Like, for example, the novel of Jane Austen, which is titled Emma. So, ganun din yung story. Naka-focus siya sa protagonist. Ano yung mga gagawin ng protagonist. Next is hypertext novel. Hypertext novel is a fiction, is a genre of electronic literature characterized by hypertext links which provide new context of non-linearity in literature. So, reader typically choose links to more from one node of the text to the next. Next is graphic novel. So, ang graphic novel, it is a novel or simply defined books length comics. So, kapag comics, doon talaga papasok si graphics kasi ang graphics more on pictures. So, comics are sequential visual art that are often told in series of rectangular panels. So, yung mga stories, short stories, pinaghahalo-halo yun ng isang author para makagawa ng isang graphic novel or isang story na novel. Next is science fiction. Science fictions often explore potential consequences of scientific and other innovations. So, sa example, we can see meron diyang robot. So, ang science fiction, it includes mga robot din. Meron ding mga fantasy dito sa science fiction. So, mga scientific din ang tumatakbo yung mga stories. Next is pulp fiction. So, ang pulp fiction is kilala noong 20th century which were printed on cheap pulp paper and published fantastic escapist fiction and general entertainment. So, pag sinabing pulp fiction, ang focus nila is more on entertainment. Like, for example, The Spider. Next is erotic. Erotic romance novels have more romance and main focus of the plot line. So, some of us, ito yung favorite, hindi ko alam. So, these books contain elements of any of other subgenres. So, erotic romance is classed as pornography. So, may mga sexual content dito sa erotic novel. So, the next one is interactive novel. So, interactive novel is a form of interactive web. Like, for example, Harry Potter. So, the reader choose where to go next. And in the novel by clicking on the piece of hyperlink text. Next is fantasy novel. So this novel is one of my favorite novel. See, stories involving paranormal magic and terrible monster have existed in spoken forms before the advent of printed literature. So napakaganda ng fantasy novel kahit na siya ay fiction. So like for example, The Hobbit by Tolkien's. Isa din to sa pinakamagandang novel. Next is adventure, from the word adventure. This novel is a genre of fiction in which an adventure and exciting undertaking involving risk and physical danger. So how the characters think kapag nakaka-encounter sila ng mga challenges during adventure. So doon tumatakbo yung stories. Next is the children's novel. So it was written for children's, para mabasa ng mga children's. It has more on lessons para sa mga bata. Ay narrative fiction books written for children distinct from collection of stories in picture books. The last one is the mystery novel. The mystery genre is a type of fiction in which a detective or other professional solves a crime or a series of crimes. So, if we relate it in detective fiction, halos same lang talaga sila ni mystery novel. Why? Because of uh, uh, characters in this novel are also investigating a crime. So, kaya sila magkapareho. So, for example, Da Vinci Code by Dan Browns, it is a mystery novel. So, that is all about the other novel types in 20th century to the contemporary period. So, I hope that marunong na tayong mag-identify ano yung types ng novel yung ah, pwede nating i-identify. And kapag merong tao na mag-a-ask what novel or ano yung favorite nating novel, kaya na natin i-identify anong types ng novel ba yon. So, that is all about other novel types. So, let's proceed to the next topic. But before we discuss it, alamin natin sino ba si William Golding. So, he is a symbolic novelist. His first and well-known novel, The Lord of the Flies, has been probably the most powerful English novel written since the war. So, it is a story told with clear realism and symbolic meaning of a group of small children wrecked on the desert island. So his later novel also contained his sense of human adequacy and his own vision of man. So, dadako tayo sa The Lord of the Flies. So, ang The Lord of the Flies is what type of novel? So, it is an allegorical novel. Why? Because allegorical novel is consist of symbolic meaning. So, si William Golding is an symbolic novelist. So, let's proceed to The Lord of the Flies summary. So, the novels open with plane crash in an island. Once we are given the back story, we learn that the country is at war and plane carrying schoolboys was shut down and landed on the island. Once the boys find each other, they elect a leader, an attractive boy named Ralph. Ralph immediately starts to lead the boys, insisting that they create a fire to get attention from any passing ships and create group led by Jack to hunt for food. The boys are able to make a fire, but they are encouraged by Jack to focus on hunting rather than fire. So the fire spread out of control, a young boy disappears and is presumed to be dead. Another character, Piggy, becomes concerned with the boys are spending too much time hunting and not maintaining the fire. So Jack takes the boys to hunt for a pig, and while they are gone, the fire goes out and a ship passes the island. Ralph confronts Jack and the two boys fight. When Jack hits Piggy, Ralph calls a meeting for all the boys. The group is starting to fall apart. The younger boys are scared and having nightmares, and many boys believe that they may have a beast on the island. Not long after, the boys are sleeping in military planes fly over the island. A dead man falls to the island, and the boys believe that he is the beast. Ralph and Jack decided to go and look for the beast and see the dead man, but believe that they have in fact found a beast. They return to camp and tells the others what they have found. Jack begins to protest that Ralph should no longer be a leader, but the boys will not vote him out. Jack becomes angry and runs away, calling for others to join him, and some of them do. At the same time, another boy named Simon decides to explore in the island and find the beast. He finds the dead man and realizes that the beast is just a dead man. A new group Jack's boys immediately run and rapidly kill a pig. The group cuts off the pig's head and puts it on a stick, offering it to the beast of the island. This led to chaos as the boys celebrate the sacrifice. Ralph and the remaining boys join others and they all celebrate the beast of the island. So when Simon returns to the group, he is dirty and bloody and the old boys attack him. The group kills him savagely and just they did in the pig. The next morning, Ralph and Peggy talked to each other and realized that they no longer wanted to be part of the group. Jax approached them and ordered the boys to tie up Ralph. They fight and Peggy is killed. Ralph is able to escape and hide, but the group continues to hunt for him. Jax decides to set the forest on fire, but knowing that Ralph will have to come out. He does eventually run to the beach, and when he wakes up, he is greeted by British naval officer. At the same time, at the same moment, the rest of the group comes out for, of the forest, intending to kill Ralph. The officer, shocked at the boys, and asks Ralph what is happening. Ralph starts to cry, as do the rest of the boys. Suddenly, the boys are boys again. They are no longer angry, worrying mob but a group of boys crying to the officer. So the officers turn away for the boys to gain composure. So the Lord of the Flies tells the story of a group of young boys who find themselves alone on the desert island. They develop rules and a system of organization, but without any adults to serve as a civilizing impulse. The children eventually become violent and brutal. So nakakapatay na sila at nagkakasakitan na sila. So yung characters dito, the main characters is Ralph and Jack. Ralph is the protagonist and Jack is the antagonist. So si Ralph, he believed that structure, rules, and maintaining a signal fire is the greatest priorities. While Jack believes hunting, violence, and fun should be prioritized over safety, protection, and planning for the future. So, ito. The Lord of the Flies was banned. So, bakit? Because some schools ay hindi agree doon sa novel. As parents, school administrators, and other critics, sila ay nagreklamo because of language and violence na napapaloob doon sa story. So, what is the message of the story? So, two competing impulses that exist with all human beings, the intrinsic to live by rules, peaceful and follow moral commands, and the value of good of the group against the intrinsic of gratify one's immediate desire and act violently to obtain supremacy over others and enforce one's will. So, ang message ng story is paano namuhay yung dalawang grupo or dalawang tao na magkaiba yung kanilang opinion, magkaiba yung kanilang pananaw sa buhay, lalo na sila ay mga bata pa lang. So they have loss of innocence, nagkakaroon ng mga violence and bullying doon sa story. So I guess this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening. So this is my references. If you are willing to read and explore, you are free to click the link. And God bless everyone. Thank you.